Nice
I'm
meeting you.
good. Nice meeting you. Troy, we are live.
Okay.
So would you go ahead and give us the honor of an introduction here?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going live here, so I think. Okay. You can go ahead and put me on screen.
There you are.
Hello, everybody. This is Sports for the Blind. Sorry for being a little late today. We had some technical issues, so we had to restart everything, and here we are. So our interview today is with a Sports for the Blind member named Terry, and she is visually impaired as well. And you will be introducing her, and if you want to go ahead and do that, that would be great. And we'll go from there.
Cool.
Sorry for being late, everybody. Go ahead, Yuke.
Thanks, Troy. So hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Where is everybody? Hi, everybody. There we are. Troy, sit down. You're
Sorry.
making us busy.
Sorry. I had to turn off the TV.
There you go. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to Troy's broadcast. This is Sports for the Blind. Troy, you misspelled it. Okay, it's okay. I'll go back and change it.
Sorry.
Our guest today, hi, we have two people in the room already, Mr. Eric Levitt and Miss Debbie McCabe. They are here and they said hello. I want to introduce you to another member of the Sports for the Blind. This is Miss Terry, and I believe it's Teri, correct?
That's correct. That is correct.
And we're interested in knowing what part you play in the organization and how you came to know about it.
Oh, it's kind of funny that you ask. Troy and I were introduced to each other at our place of employment, and we started dating each other. And Troy kind of always had it in the back of his mind that he wanted to do some kind of sports and stuff because it was something that he was not able to do in school, etc. So we started coming together and came up with the organization together, Sports for the Blind. And that was 10 years ago. And here we are today.
Very nice. And so are you just a member?
Yes, I'm just a member of Sports for the Blind. That is correct. Yes.
Got it. And so how has this experience been for you? How has it changed your life?
I'd love to see people smile and to see joy and laughter on their faces when they reach a certain milestone that they're doing, either running to a base for the first time or finally being able to play a sport and talk about it and just simply, kind of understand how other people feel. That is the biggest thrill I get, is watching their accomplishments and what they can do.
Right. Very gratifying to see the smiles on their faces.
Very humbling to watch.
Yes. So, Troy, I know you're holding your phone, so try not to move around too much because we're getting little scratchy noises.
Sorry.
And Joy, you remember Joy? Joy is in here. She says hello. Demity says hello. She's from Gold Coast. Michael says hello. Doe Darling is also in here. She says hello. So you got a lot of peeps that's coming in to say hi. And if you guys in the comments have questions as we are going along, please feel free to ask, and I'll try and be your interpreter here.
Okay.
If anybody would like to come, anybody would like to come up online, up on cam to ask your question, you can do that as well.
Yes, definitely. I'll go ahead and invite Joy because she, I'm sure, has experience and questions and some of the difficulties that she's gone through. So she's definitely a good person to have in here if she is wanting to cam up. Sorry, Joy, to be putting you on the spot here. So how long does it usually take if you're talking about organizing a sport from beginning to end? Let's say, for example, you're doing beep baseball, right? That seems to be the most popular sport.
Yes.
So when you're doing beep baseball from beginning to end, how do you organize and the amount of time it takes to set everything up, like all of the cones and get the ball and get everybody at the park or the facility that you have?
Okay, I can kind of take you through the process that I know it as. They obviously we find our players and our team and schedule a game. Once the game is scheduled, they ask the city to be able to play at a field, which we have a field here in Spokane that has kind of been revamped for us to be able to use. They have ran wiring underground from home base to first and third base. They improved their snack shack. They improved just the whole environment, and it's kind of been our home playing field. Once we get a game scheduled, then we talk to the city, see if the field is open at that time. We come together. Troy usually gets to a game about an hour to an hour and a half before other people. He has a couple of people that meet him there as well, our great volunteers. To be able to set up the cones and the bases, we have it pretty down pat of one of the things of playing on our home field is we don't have to wire everything and make sure the wires are out of the way, etc., and so on. So it's really nice at our home field to be able just to pull the lid off of the little, I don't know, hole in the ground, and then you pull up the cord and just plug it in. So it's been nice playing at that field. So to answer your question, I would probably say maybe total 30, 45 minutes.
Oh, it's pretty quick to set up.
Oh, yes. But it does take a little bit longer if we go to a field that is not necessarily has the, the little things that the city has done for us here with our park.
Correct.
So going to a field that has no wires ran for us, no anything, that would probably be about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes setting up and stuff, because you got to measure home base to the pitchers. You got to make sure that the bases are so far apart, from home base, first and third, and then of course your outfield line in the outfield. So it's a little bit more time consuming if we play on somebody else's turf.
Got it. So on the screen, I'm on the screen, Terry is on the screen, Troy is on the screen, and then also joining us is Joy. So I'll let Joy introduce herself quickly.
Hi, how is everybody tonight?
Good.
I'm doing great, thank you.
But I'm living in Memphis right now, and I'm also an advocate for the blind and people with disabilities, but I myself am also visually impaired.
Oh, wonderful.
So, I'm new to this area, and unfortunately, I don't know if we down here even have any fields or anything that's actually set up for any type of blind sports.
Do you just have like a regular baseball field?
I'm sure we do, but unfortunately we moved just as everything shut down.
Yeah.
So I'm new to the area, and I feel like I'm just a complete newbie to the Memphis area, just simply because we've really not been able to get out and do much.
Sure, explore and see and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Michael in the comments says, I am grateful for your wonderful stories of inspiration. And Chris Rossetti just came in and he said, hello.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
Hey, Michael.
And Ted Hicks came in and he says, hello from New York. Well, we're getting a lot of peeps in here today.
Ted.
Thank you guys for coming in. So who would like to start off with beep baseball? I obviously know what beep baseball is by now, but a lot of people do not. So instead of having Troy, sorry, I muted you.
What button is that? I want it.
Hey.
You know what, Troy? I told you, I gave you a little warning. I said, stop moving your phone. And you were like,
I'm not doing
scratch,
anything.
scratch. And I'm like, that's it. You're done. You got muted.
That's okay. Just tell. I was just going to say, tell your story that when I met you, how so that Terry understands how I met you and what I was telling you about beat baseball and stuff. That was it.
That was embarrassing. So Troy came onto my channel and we were talking, just all random chat. And then he's like, oh, you need to check out Beat Baseball. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. And I didn't know what that was. And then he's like, yeah, no. And he kept pushing it. So I'm just like, okay, what's up with this guy? I don't know who he is.
Yep.
I mean, this could be like a total creeper. I got my, I got my, my little bells on, like my alarm. And so he's like, no, really, check out Beat Baseball. And I'm like, I'm not going to check out Beat Baseball. And he's like, well, why not? You should check out Beat Baseball. I'm like, because it's probably some like porn site or something. And I'm like, what are you doing to me? I'm not going to go check it out. He's like, no, go to YouTube and type in Beat Baseball. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay. I'm like, this is going to show up in my history now. If this is porn, I'm going to be in trouble. And so I typed it in, and it had to be the video that I watched that was so inspirational. It was just, the visually impaired, some are completely blind, and they were playing baseball. And there was just something so amazing about a group of people that normally in society gets looked down on because we don't understand. We look at them like they're an inconvenience, but yet here they are playing baseball, and right before they played, they had this rah-rah cheer, and you can feel the electricity that they had. And then at the end, the team that won, they had another rah-rah cheer, and it was just so electrifying to see, these group of people come together with no judgment, and that it's just like they're just like anybody and everybody else. And that was amazing to see. And it was just the feeling that came with it, to see the sense of belonging and how normal their life is. It was just amazing. So that's how I met Troy. And Ted gave you a super heart.
Oh, thank you, Ted.
And Demity also gave you a super heart. Sorry, I'm not a very good translator here.
So, anyway, Terry, since we got you here, so can you tell us your story on how you found out and what you have for your eye condition?
Sure. I'd be happy to. First of all, I will be 50 in April. So that gives everybody a little idea of how old I am. When I was 9 years old, at that time, you would have your eyes checked at the gymnasium, and a couple of volunteer moms would come in, and you would stand there and do the patch over the one eye and read the sign, etc., and so on. Well, I went to one of those activities, I guess, and they noticed that I wasn't reading the eye chart as well as I should. So they sent a note home with me to my parents, and they took me to the local doctor and stuff like that. And of course, they didn't quite know, because I'm only 9 years old, and it's kind of was hard for them to understand what I can see and what I can't see. And then by the time I had several testing, went to a couple of different universities, Oregon State University, Berkeley, California, I was diagnosed with macular degeneration. I was diagnosed with that at the age of 9, so they labeled it as juvenile macular degeneration. I was one of 3 other people in the Pacific Northwest to have it. I've never had a chance to drive a car. I've been very, very fortunate with my parents. They owned some mom and pop restaurants in Portland, Oregon. So to have a job was always right there for me, because I was working with family. So of course your family can kind of pick up the pieces and kind of help you where it's needed, etc. So I was very fortunate to be able to be there. As far as school and stuff, I did the dance team at high school. I did the football league, all that other fun stuff that high school has to offer. What I can see is 20, 2200. So what that means, everything on your standard eye chart from the very first line, which is obviously the big E, I can read that, and then the next line underneath it. That is as far as my distant reading is. But as far as sight, I can see the outside of objects, and I do a lot of body reading, how people's mannerisms are with the way that they walk, with the way that simple stuff, breathe, their footsteps, all that stuff. And then you just kind of live it, you live it and you know it. My parents were always one that, the world doesn't adapt to you. You need to adapt to the world. So there was no excuses. You did what needed to be done and you just did it. So, and I played sports all through junior high and high school with my eye condition, but I was able to fool people enough that nobody really caught on. As I've gotten older with age, just having regular sight, as you get old, you got to start wearing the bifocals and kind of help read the print of things and stuff. So I have been noticing my eyes changing, which is obviously supposed to with my age. So that experience of my eye changing compared to what I'm used to is much different.
Troy, if you shuffle again, I'm going to boot you out of your own broadcast, I swear. I'm kidding.
When we're at work and I'm home because I have a couple days off a week, he'll play the meeting if there's a meeting at work, and he sits there and shuffles and eats and does this, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Troy, you've been ratted out.
Me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not me.
I totally understand where she's at, man.
You just
It's
got
not me. It's
ratted.
Matthew.
You just got ratted.
Oh,
You are noisy.
So I have a question about eyesight. As you were saying, as you're getting older, your vision is changing. So how does that? I mean, like for me, I've noticed that I'm having a hard time seeing things that are closer now.
And yeah, so, with me, the best way I can explain it is, Troy and I have a 10-year-old granddaughter, and our oldest child that we not necessarily have together, but that we helped raise is going to be 30 this year. I remember as a mom being able to sit down and read the Dr. Seuss books, that size prints and stuff. I would be able to have my child sit on my lap and be able to read those Dr. Seuss books with no putting the page up to my nose or having to move the book this way or that way. But now that we have a grandchild, I cannot see the words on that Dr. Seuss book for anything. So those kind of things I personally have seen. So learning how to deal with that has been a little bit more difficult because one of the things that they don't know about my eye disease is if I was born with it, because they kind of believe that my eyes were just slowly deteriorating, and I kind of just made it work. Because it was slow, I just adapted to it and learned how to make slight changes and stuff. So they don't necessarily know if, like, at 9 years old, my disease, boom, here it is, or if it's something I could have been born with and it just progressively, and then by the time I was 9, it was, it drew attention to it. Right. But definitely as a grandparent, the last 10 to 15 years, yeah, I can see the difference in reading a recipe book for cooking at dinner at home. The Dr. Seuss books and stuff. Yeah, I can't do any of that anymore.
Gotcha. So VS gave you a high award, and Mike gave you an appreciate you award. And Michael, his name's All Secure. Michael is from New Jersey. He said hello.
Hello.
And Product VS says hello to everybody. And then Pete in Florida came in and he said hello as well. So everybody seems to be here. This is the where the party's at tonight.
There you go.
So
We're
Joy,
very good at doing that.
so Joy here, you may not know Terry, is Joy is quite a cook, and she actually live streams her cooking.
Oh, wonderful.
And her recipes. And so, I was wondering if you guys can kind of talk about how you guys are able to navigate around the kitchen, like if you're trying to find the salt, the pepper, the sugar, what kinds of things do you guys use as tools to help you guys? Because, for us, we're sighted so we can see, but for those that are visually impaired or even completely blind, what kinds of things do you guys do?
Joy, do you want to take it?
It is so funny you just said that, because actually I was getting ready to go live to show some of the things that I'm right now I'm teaching a class for people across Tennessee who are either newly blind, or it varies from completely blind to, just visually impaired, but on kitchen skills. And actually, I was actually setting up when I saw Troy go live. So I was like, oh, let me hop in here. But actually, and it's so funny because I've got the stuff setting up right here. I actually have like this meat thermometer, and it's actually really cool because it's not designed specifically for someone with a vision impairment, but 81.9 degrees Fahrenheit.
There you go.
Oh,
it talks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty amazing. Actually, I really like this one. This one's really cool.
That's cool. Mm-hmm.
That one is cool. So Joy, if I could have you move your camera down just a little bit, because it's cutting your mouth off. There you go.
Is that good?
That is perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I didn't actually realize. Sorry, I didn't actually realize that it was up that high.
That's okay. We kind of made fun of all the. I did a broadcast the other day, and everybody was kind of like putting the camera really, really close to their face, and all we saw were the tops of people's heads. So we just kind of made it the forehead broadcast.
Sure. There you go.
Oh, goodness. But I also have this kitchen scale, and this is great if you're, wanting to measure out whatever it is. If it's a liquid that you need in grams or ounces, you can actually measure this out. I know that I use it for like hamburger or whatever. If you want a quarter pound, and you want your portion sizes to be equal, this is actually pretty good too. And actually, this is new, so let's see. Where's my button? Where's my on button? No. Come on. It's not coming on. Of course it's not. Why is it not coming on?
Because you're on live.
Because you want it to. That's why.
The minute we end this broadcast and you turn it on, it's going to go beeping.
Yep.
But this talks too. I promise. I promise it's supposed to talk. Seriously? There it goes.
There it goes.
Okay. And you have your tear button. You have okay, there we go. Why is this not working right? This is weird. Okay.
So basically you have certain gadgets that you use that has an audio which helps.
Yes. Let me show you this too. I also have, I told you I was literally getting ready to go on, Braille measuring cups, and this is also large print. Yep. And this is from Braille Works. But these are actually really good quality. But the one thing I like about these is the Braille is actually, it's a larger print Braille, like a jumbo Braille. But the Braille dots on it is actually a little bit higher. So it's very easily read.
So
Yeah, especially if you have like little, flour or cookie dough or something on your hands or whatever. It is nice
Exactly.
to have those higher dots.
Yeah. Yep. And
See,
also
things
have the
that we never
measurements.
would have known. See, things that we never would have known or appreciated.
Oh yes, yeah. You learn to
Also,
appreciate. You
So
learn to
I
appreciate
have a
everything.
question. Hi, and Shirley says hello.
hi,
And
Shirley.
I have a question about Braille. Do all people that are blind or visually impaired, do they all learn to read Braille?
That depends on what you're exposed to.
Yep.
I know I actually have some neuropathy in my fingers, so it's very difficult for me to read Braille. I can't read a book. Like one of my friends, she can just fly through a Braille book in no time. But for me, I really can't do that. Now, the funny thing was, I injured my finger back in December 18th, and I actually set it up in a car door. So
Ow.
now I have tendon and nerve damage. But what is so funny about that since the nerve is now healing in the tip of my finger, it's actually become more sensitive.
Oh,
So I can feel the Braille dots a lot easier now.
oh. So
So
you're gonna slam your other hand now?
Oh no.
no,
I'm kidding.
no.
I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's
Oh,
I don't know. We'll see as time goes on if it reverts back to where it was, but
interesting.
you know.
And sometimes you rely on so much of your other senses and stuff. Because,
Mhm,
like for instance, filling up a cup of water, you can
Mhm.
you can hear it fill
mhm,
up. That
mhm.
you can
Exactly.
listen to, and so things do make different sounds that you can listen to. And I don't know if it's my kids call it's a blind thing because they say my ears are so crazy on how I can hear so much.
Mhm.
um, and then you also just learn how to work with what you got if you don't have a gadget, such as
Exactly.
filling a cup of water or something like that. It's just a matter of laying your finger just very slightly on the edge of the cup on the inside. So when you're holding it or filling up
Mhm.
the cup, you can feel the cold on
Mhm.
the tip of your finger.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying you're sticking your hand in the cup and all that other stuff like a 2-year-old. I mean, you do it with, it's a lot of people don't even know that's what you're doing.
Mhm.
But it's just little tricks like that you just learn. And then when you talk to somebody else with a disability or whatever, there's times you can share with what's worked for you that didn't, and maybe what
Exactly.
works for them, etc. So, and that's
You
what's
know,
nice about going to these places, such as Sports for the Blind, because you can interact and talk about, different things and what works and doesn't work, etc.
Right. We do have a question from the comments. The product VS asked, "Is there a simplified Braille for people that have many disabilities?"
I only know of grade 1 and grade 2. Um,
yeah.
I am not a Braille. I personally, myself, just learned Braille at my employer about 5 years ago.
Was it difficult to learn?
No,
Okay.
For
no.
me, it was.
Linda says hello to everybody.
Hello,
Hi.
Linda.
So Terry, you're learning Braille, or you can fully read in
I
Braille.
wanted to make sure that I can be still independent if my sight was to be gone because nobody knows what to expect. There's no doctor that can say they know because I'm only, there's such a low amount of, my disability out there in young patients, and so I don't know.
What about you, Troy? Do you read Braille too?
I learned it probably about 7 years ago, something like that. I have not used it since, so I don't know it anymore. I
Oh.
lost, I kind of know what it is, but my fingers are not as sensitive as others are because
Mm.
I've worked in the lumber mills and all that way back when, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of, my
Tough.
fingers aren't that sensitive
You're
anymore.
tough.
Yeah.
What about you, Joy? Do you read Braille?
I don't,
Okay.
other than just a few letters at a time. That's about all I can really pick up. But I'm also dyslexic as well. So I do have trouble, even when I could see, I actually had trouble reading. Just simply, it was just a dyslexic, problem. But
Wow. That would have been
yeah,
tough.
yeah,
That's very tough. Shirley asked, "Do you use the Braille on the ATM machines?"
I do. Absolutely.
Some of the ATM machines have headset jacks, so
Mhm.
you can plug your phone headset jack into the
ATM.
ATM,
yes.
and then it will read out to you what's on the screen.
Oh, is that what that's for?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
little tiny, the
It's a
little
little tiny hole. Yep.
jack.
That's exactly what it's for.
That's what that's for. I was like,
Yeah.
what the heck am I supposed to be listening to? What?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. See, I learned another thing
Mhm.
today.
And actually, the Department of Treasury is actually working on um, testing out Braille currency and labeling like the 1, the 5, the 20, all of that in Braille. And they're actually testing different types of material that the money is made out of.
So,
Because when I was in San Francisco about 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, actually I was in a study which they came into the lighthouse. And if we were lucky enough to get signed up for that study, we would go into this room and they would hand us a stack of money, different currencies, and it was all weathered, it was new, it was in all different conditions, and they were trying to test to see which would hold up the best. So, that's coming down the road. It's just not here yet.
Yeah.
so I have a good question. When you guys go out and you pay for something, do you always use your ATM or your bank card, or do you use cash?
I personally don't keep a lot of cash on me, and that's just simply for safety issues. Because I already feel like personally that I'm vulnerable if I have my white cane in front of me and you're spending money or whatever. So I use my ATM card for everything. I will keep maybe a $20 bill in my wallet for little nitpicky $1 or $2 stuff here and there. But as far as paying in a large amount and having to make sure the exact amount of bills and you don't mix. For myself, the new money that has the large prints on them, like the big 5 and the big 10 on
Right.
the back and stuff, that's heaven for me.
Yes.
I can see that. Awesome. I wish everything had that size. Um, and I'm curious to see where this Braille currency is going to go too.
Yeah.
So there's a couple people at work that fold their ones differently than their
Mhm.
fives,
Mhm.
and their tens differently than their ones and fives and
Oh,
Yep.
20s, and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. They'll fold them in thirds, or they'll fold them
A little corner
uh,
here or whatever.
just,
Yep.
yeah, they'll just
Yeah.
do different things. However they figure out how to do it, that's what they do.
oh, that's
Um,
smart.
Mhm.
so if they fold the 5, say they fold it long ways halfway, and then they fold it another half, that's a 5. Then they'll fold the 10, say short ways in half, and then the half the other way. So
Mhm.
they know the difference between the 10 and the 5.
Mhm.
There are readers like on iPhones and stuff like that that will read the denomination on the
Yes.
iPhone or whatever. But
Yes. What about you, Joy? Like, do you pay with cash ever?
At different times, I don't carry a lot of cash, and I really don't know why. I used to, but then I just got in the habit of using a credit card. But yeah, and it's like Troy said, I would fold my money in a different way. So, I could reach into my wallet and I knew what the 20 was. I knew what from the one.
Mhm.
That's
So,
so smart. I've never
yeah,
heard of that. That's like super smart.
yeah, but
Well,
it's you just kind of learn to see what works best for you.
yeah,
Right.
they do. They also do have a reader, a money reader that you could just put in your pocket and
Right.
it'll read the denomination for you too. But sometimes that's a hassle when you're at the cash register trying to check out.
Yeah, holding up the line.
Or if when they give you cash back, because quite frankly, you don't know if what they're handing you is what the correct change is.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, last year I was working in a convenience store and someone handed me a bill and I thought it was another denomination and I gave them change for what they said it was.
Mm.
And it was wrong.
Mm.
And that really bothered me.
Yes.
It really did.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. Randy Horton is here, and Randy Horton says, "Hello, Joy. Hello, Sports
Hey,
for the
Randy.
Blind." And Randy, to introduce you, up in the upper left corner, that is Terry, Teri, and she is a member of Sports for the Blind. And so we are here just kind of picking her brain a little bit. So if you guys have any questions, I'll try and read it for the room here. So Terry,
Yes.
being involved with Sports for the Blind, what is your favorite part? What gets you excited? Your favorite
Actually,
part?
one of the things that we do, and that's a lot of fun, is when we're done playing a game or whatever, especially when we get to travel and our team members are excited because they got out of the house and got to travel and then go play, for instance, beat baseball or whatever. We would always make sure after a good day of ball playing, we would just go out and have a little fun. So our group in particular loves karaoke, so we use a dance floor. So we usually try to find a place, a tavern, bar, or something that hosts karaoke and a dance floor. Sometimes, it's going to a casino and maybe watching something there, or a few of them gambling. Yeah, we'll get together with the people that we played against that afternoon, because at the end of the day, no matter what, we're all the same.
Right.
And it's so nice to hang out with your kind of own group and do your thing.
Mm-hmm. True. Product VS says previously, I believe this was last week when Troy was interviewing Vivian. He has said sometime in his broadcast he has about a 3 times zoom on his CPU. Is this the same for Terry?
Troy,
Oh yeah,
you're
I don't have it zoomed for Terry right now, so all she's seen is the pictures. I'm not even sure if she can see those, but
all I can see is the words on the side and then the big square in the center.
yeah.
That's
But I
good.
usually have it zoomed, but I zoomed it out for her so she could see all the pictures, because I have it zoomed in so much on the computer that I can only see, like, for example, Uke in the small box, or myself, or Joy, or Terry. That's the way I have it set up. So I have to scroll. I have to go all the way down to the bottom corner to see the comments. So Terry doesn't get on the computer very often.
No, I do not like technology very well.
Well, Troy, can I just propose that you get like a jumbotron?
Well, I have a 65-inch TV out here.
I was gonna say, yeah, we got it dialed, so yeah.
So, Christy just said that she followed Joy, and she says this is super informative and interesting. Shirley says, such a cool sport. I love hearing Troy share how the game is played. That I am always fascinated. I mean, every time I'm still learning about beat baseball, even though I've read about it, I've watched it on YouTube. It's just so amazing. It's just so amazing that they, being blindfolded, that they can put the ball on the bat, or the bat on the ball, sorry, right? That they can make that contact. And imagine if you're blindfolded and you're just swinging and listening to this ball beep, then the feeling that you get when you actually do make contact, like that feeling is just amazing, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
it makes you smile inside and out. It is so, and you have to be quiet. That's the other thing that kind of sucks, because yeah, when you watch players connect with the ball or catch the ball, or worked a little extra grounding the ball in practice, and they made a great play at a game or whatever, it makes you feel so good inside. Oh, it's wonderful.
But the spectators are they have to be quiet so that everybody can hear
Yeah.
the ball or the bass or whatever they're doing. The spectators want to scream and shout and all that stuff, but
Even the
that throws
players.
everything off.
Yeah.
That throws everything off. So, it's like everybody has to be quiet until after the play is done, so that everybody can be safe doing whatever they're doing, fielding the ball, running to the base, or whatever.
So there is only first base and third base. There is no second base, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then, so
Yep.
what happens is when the pitcher is sighted, right? Because the pitcher has to be able to
Correct.
put the ball, in that little square, right?
That's correct.
Mhm.
The pitcher is sighted. Once the ball gets hit, here is a photo of the ball. This is a photo of the ball, and it has these speakers that's built in. And then, and the size of the ball is a little bit, is it the same size as like a softball?
No,
It's a little bit bigger than a softball. Not
Okay,
much, but a little bit.
just a little bit bigger. And then on this softball is this pin. See that little pin, you guys? So when you pull out this pin, it starts to beep. And the beeping is for
The defense.
the beeping is for the defense. It's for the people out in the field. And so once the ball gets hit into the field, there is a sighted person that calls the quadrant. Is that how that goes?
Yes.
Okay, so they call the quadrant, and you go and you try and find this ball, kind of like what this lady is doing on the screen right here. She's just listening to it. And once she gets it, does she just hold it up into the air? And that means it's done, right? She's not throwing it to anybody. She just holds it up into the air.
That's the end of the play. That's the end of the play.
Yeah,
Once she says got it, that's it.
Go. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm always so fascinated with this. And here is the base. So, how about Terry? Terry, can you explain the base, how big it is, what it's made out of? And
okay, yeah. The inside of the base is foam. It's just almost the same kind of foam that you would see in a foam pit at a a ninja course or whatever. And then it's wrapped with this plastic tarp kind of material. And then it's two parts. It's the square part at the bottom, which has a hole in it. And then the cylinder goes into that hole, making it upright. And then it has a speaker on it. So
where did I click?
So when you always want to make sure that the speaker is facing the batter so they can hear the sound of it beeping, so they know which base to go to. But that's all it is. You can hit. We have seen people plow into that base, do forward rolls, hit it full bore. Yeah. But at the end of it, you just pick it back up again, go to the next one.
very cool. Shirley says, I can see and I can't hit a ball, so it amazes me how they play. And Yankee Woman Kim, that is Kim. She is from New Orleans, and she is also visually impaired. She's in the room right now, and she says hello to everybody.
Hello, how are you?
So, Joy, have you been involved in any type of sports after your vision loss?
Yes, but I've never played beat baseball.
Would you muster up enough courage to try beep baseball if it was offered?
Oh shoot, yeah.
Mhm.
That answer came out quick.
Yeah, visually impaired people will try anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I was gonna go skydiving last year, but my doctor wouldn't give me permission to come off. I have what's called positive factor 5, which is a clotting disorder.
Oh.
So I'm on blood thinner. But he would not give me permission to come off my blood thinner for 2 weeks before I could go skydiving. So, but I was going to go.
Okay, so you got a little adventure side in you then.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
So Terry, there's a question in the room, and this comes from Shirley. She wants to know, is it a traditional bat?
Yes. It is just a regular aluminum bat. Some of them weigh more than others. If you want the specs on what's allowed or whatever, you need to ask Troy for those. But as far as I know, it's just a regular baseball aluminum bat.
Very cool. So the only thing that's different is just the ball is just a little bit bigger because it's got the little speaker and all the little devices in it. And then the bases are made out of foam.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's so cool. So in the meantime, with this whole crazy pandemic, what are you doing to stay active?
Who are you asking?
Everybody. Let's start with Terry, and then we'll move on to Joy, and then Troy is a guy, so he's last.
Okay. Can we lie on what we're doing?
Wait a minute here.
I can tell you what my brain wishes it was doing, but I've been laid off since the end of March. So to be active or whatever, I have not been doing well on that for the last 10 or 11 months. But as far as staying active and stuff, you have grandchildren, you play, you won't go for walks, you know, Troy and I love to be competitive. So we'll go play air hockey and yeah, we're pretty ride go-karts and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, Shirley has one more question before we move on to Joy. She wants to know, are the gloves bigger?
We do not play with gloves.
Some people do play with gloves, but we do not. The ball is really, I mean, there's only been 5 recorded catches of fly balls. So when the batter hit the ball and it goes out to the outfield, there's only been 5 caught in the 50 some years of a beat baseball. There's only been 5 recorded. So some of the players do wear gloves, but I find it easier not to wear a glove because I could use both hands and search for the ball on the ground than have my glove and try to use that to touch it.
So I was reading that article. So Troy, a few days ago, he sent me a bunch of articles, and I was reading through it, and I don't understand that. Here you are. Someone hits the ball. You got blindfolds on. You can't see. You're just listening to this beep. There's a ball that is coming full speed from the air, and you don't know. I mean, do you have a face cage on?
That's what the spotter's for.
That's what
so if you're in immediate danger of the ball hitting you, the spotter can yell like duck or whatever, move to the right or something if it's coming for your face. If it's going to hit your body, I mean, that's not that should be okay. But if it's going for your face, then they'll yell something, but for the most part, it doesn't usually, we haven't had any instances like that.
Okay.
here, and we've been playing for 9-10 years now, something like that.
Got it.
So
Joy, what about you? What do you do since the pandemic? What have you been doing to stay active?
Well, I exercise. I have to do certain exercises too because I've got bulging disc in my back. But I ride an exercise bike, and my husband also has a warehouse that I actually walk around. And it's so funny because there was one day I almost walked 5 miles just in the warehouse making laps, So, but that's kind of what I do to stay, to stay active.
That's cool. That's cool. Troy, what about you? Troy's like, I just sit on my couch.
No, he works.
I'm kidding. Troy's a
I-
busy man.
Yeah.
I work. So I do about in walking a week, I'd say, or every day at work, I'd say I walk anywhere from 5 to 7 miles at work. At least that's what my phone says. And right now it's too cold outside, but I usually do projects at home out in the shed, building wooden stuff, just different things out in my shed, to just dink around and stuff like that. But I do the website, which I haven't did a lot to. I try to think of fundraisers to do, and interact with everybody, and so then of course the grandkids and stuff like that. So I do a lot of stuff.
You wore me out. Just all the stuff that you did, you wore me out. Shirley says 5 is a lot in reference to, I believe, the amount of balls that has been caught in midair. And Yankee Woman Kim says, hope all is well with everyone. And there's a lady from Facebook. Her name is Christy Yang.
Oh,
And
hi,
hey.
Christy. How are
She
you?
used to,
guys,
she
miss
used to
you
be-
guys.
yeah, she
Miss
used to be on
you,
our
Christy.
team.
Yeah, Christy used to be on our team. Matter of fact, her husband was the MVP in the Olympic Games
No,
a couple of years ago. And he came and played with us, and they moved to California and had their family. They got 2 young children, and her husband was able to play on a California team, and they went to the World Series, and he happened to be the MVP of the games.
Awesome. Bragging rights, everyone.
Yeah, you're darn right.
Christy gave you a super heart, and Shirley says, thanks for all the information. You guys are incredible. Stay safe. And Kevin from Kevin California Boy says, hello from Sacramento. And then he says, hi, Taylor. Wait, who's Taylor?
I don't know.
I think you mean Troy.
I think he meant Terry, but I don't know.
Oh,
yeah,
Terry.
Terry or Troy, same difference. Hi,
Yeah.
anyway.
Hi, Kevin. So, Troy, go ahead. Troy's like,
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so Christy and her husband's name is B, but they met on our team. I introduced her to Sports for the Blind on a public bus.
cool.
And she came and joined, and now it's history.
He said you meant Troy. There was a typo, but that's okay. You could be a Taylor today.
Sure. I can be Taylor. I don't care.
He'll be anything, but he won't be
T.
late to dinner. I know that.
So, in your household, Troy, who makes dinner?
Oh,
Usually it's either Terry or her son.
Okay, Terry or her son. Mike just gave you an insightful award. And I'm not going to ask Joy because I know that she's the cook in the house.
Yeah.
She's
I want to come live with her.
Yeah, she cooks, and everything she cooks looks good.
Yeah.
Well, and I just want to thank Uke, and if anybody else wants to do what Uke is doing for either Joy or myself, I don't know if Terry's interested in doing anything like this, but and even for who is the one other gal, Yankee woman.
Yankee Woman Cam.
Kim.
Yeah, yeah, and you guys reading the comments to us helps us a lot
Good.
because
Oh, good.
it's so helpful
Oh, yeah.
that we don't have to, use our phones and scroll up and try to make it bigger and have the
it takes
phone read
time.
it to us. And, yeah. And when the comments are flying by, it's hard to keep up.
Right. And Kevin says, just don't call Troy late for lunch.
Yep.
Christy Yang says, definitely the best trip I ever took on a Spokane transit. Got beat baseball and a husband.
Yep.
Kevin gave you the high award. Christy says, I think this is great.
Well, maybe if Christy if we ever connect, Christy, maybe you can come on, and B can come on too, and we can interview you guys as well.
I got two
At
small
one point.
children under the age of 2. There were 3. One of them will be able to come on.
No, one of them's 4 now, I think.
Yeah, 2 and
I don't
4.
know.
No, 2 and 4 or something like that.
Babies.
Yeah.
Yankee Woman Kim asked, what state is your organization?
Washington.
Spokane. Is it Spokane or is it Spokane?
Spokane is the way we pronounce it, but visitors, it's Spokane.
How is it pronounced officially?
Spokane.
Spokane? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you guys know that? It's Spokane. Joey's like, yeah.
I think she's heard it enough.
I am the worst at pronouncing things. So yeah, Christy has an interesting story. Christy, she lives in not Texas, not Arizona. Christy, where do you live? Nevada. I think she lives in Nevada. Well, Christy, she recently got the COVID around, I want to say December, and she had a really, really hard time getting over it. And then when she finally saw a little bit of improvement, boom, she got the second strain of COVID from a nurse. And that kind of put her out. And then she ended up having she suffered a minor stroke. And so something that she usually can just on her phone, on her iPhone, she could just quickly type. Now it takes her, sometimes it'll take her like 5 minutes to type one sentence. So she's got her, her own little story there as well. She's really interesting, a really interesting person. So one of these days we're going to have to interview her.
Absolutely.
New Mexico. She's in New Mexico. Yes. There you go. Troy, what are you doing over there?
I was just looking at the comments. I had to get out of show live and go into the comments and
Okay.
stuff. So.
Got
That's one thing I'm hoping that the HAPS team will fix, because I know on Periscope, for the most part, I would, could hear the comments being read. I could touch the screen once and actually the comments would be automatically read. And it's not that way on HAPS.
Mm-hmm.
So my last few broadcasts, thankfully, Randy has helped tremendously with being my narrator, and Space Gal Alicia helped the last broadcast. So, that's, it's something that most people take for granted, to just sit down and read their comments. But when you either have to swipe left or right, and you're trying to do something, like for me, when I'm cooking, it's almost impossible to, stop during certain things and try to swipe. And then you miss a lot of comments.
Yes.
So, I'm hoping that will be fixed. But, at the same time, I'm so grateful for, the help that I've, got from Alicia and Randy on being my narrators, because that has helped so much.
Yeah, and that's actually great, because both Alicia and Randy, they both have mics like professional mics. So, you hear them loud and clear without any like scratchy background noises.
Yes.
Troy.
Troy, not
Me.
Troy. I figured, so you know what, Terry, what I figured out with the scratchy noise, it's his jacket.
Yeah.
Because he was reaching up to scratch his eyebrow, and then he was reaching up to like, scratch his eyes or something, and then I heard, he was like, shh, shh,
Yeah.
shh, shh.
Yeah, he usually wears a light jacket around the house and stuff. He gets cold easy.
You got busted.
He's busted.
Oh, well.
So I'm going to ask Terry. So, I asked Troy this question last week is, for Sports for the Blind, what types of creative fundraising are you currently able to do?
Currently, it's been difficult. We have had to do some virtual fundraising, such as selling popcorn with an organization, and they will donate 50% of the sales to Sports for the Blind, and then they keep 50%. I know that my son does some gaming online, so he works for a gaming organization, and they have donated. But this year, it's been a little tough.
Troy, I muted you.
Good. Keep him muted, Joyce.
So what types of, pre-pandemic, you guys, for fundraising, you guys just did like bake sales?
Oh my gosh. No, we did car washes, and we would do like going to Cabela's and, helping them with one of their weekend activities. We get out there and do whatever we can to fundraise. We do T-shirt sales for our organization. We do, I think they're going to do sweatshirts here pretty soon.
Yes.
Just your typical little ways of fundraising.
Got it. Yankee Woman Kim says, me and Haps are not good friends either. Brenda says, hello.
Brenda.
So, Joy, are you doing your cooking tonight?
I'm not going to cook tonight. I was just going to show like the kitchen gadgets. We are actually under a water.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's under a boil alert too, and the water pressure is getting actually worse than what it was even this morning, because there's been a lot of pipes and stuff burst in Memphis, and they're trying to get that fixed. So I've been having to use like bottled water and stuff to cook with.
Gosh.
So it's like, because I'm always washing my hands, so it's a little challenging right now to cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So, Joy, what are you going to be doing on your channel? Do you just do kind of like a cooking plus like just a casual chat?
Yeah. I know when I was in East Tennessee, I was able to get out a little more. I would go and show parks and things like that. But since we moved and everything shut down, it's been definitely a little more difficult. I know I'm hoping to be able to do the riverboat cruise this summer and go up the Mississippi. And that's one thing I'm really hoping that I'm going to get to do this summer.
Mm-hmm. That sounds fun.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do that. So now it's like, okay. But,
and
it's, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's a little challenging because I do live just outside of Memphis, and between working and trying to get everything done, it's more challenging during this pandemic stuff. So I'm kind of like stuck at home right now.
Yes. Kevin says that sounds like fun. He also said, I know what Joy cooked for dinner.
Oh.
And and Christy says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Joy. I think that was in reference to the water issue. A real
Oh, wait a
pain."
minute. Oh, was it Chris that said I knew?
Yeah, Kevin
Okay.
says,
Oh,
"I know what Joy cooked for dinner."
oh, I know why Kevin
California
knows
boy.
what I cooked for dinner because I was actually on Chris Rossetti's um, broadcast, and Kevin was on there.
Oh, got it. She just
So I
outed
actually,
Kevin.
yeah. So I actually made chicken and broccoli tonight.
Oh, that always sounds good. Do you
It
do
was very good.
any type of carbs with it, or no rice, no bread?
Rice. I
Okay.
actually made jasmine rice with it.
Oh, nice.
Actually, put a little ginger in there.
Okay,
So
now we're
that's
hungry. Now we're hungry. So, Terry, did you make dinner tonight?
No, I have not yet. I opened up a can of soup.
That's what you're getting.
That's
Dinner,
what I'm having.
dinner
No,
soup.
Troy
Hey, that's
will
I've
fend
done
for
that
himself.
too.
Troy, did you already eat or no?
He's
Troy, you
muted,
just
so that
muted
he's
yourself.
doing that now.
I unmuted, and then she muted, and I unmuted. Yeah. So anyway, no, I haven't eaten. I'll eat after this. But we are a little over an hour now, so I don't know if everybody's ready to, has any last questions or what. Last week we had a 2 hours and 40 minutes. So
Yes.
I was just trying to keep it.
Kevin says soup warms the heart, and Brenda, Civic Stage Manager, gave you a super heart. And in terms of your HAPS challenge, you are at 258. So, if everybody is ready to go, we can definitely, this is your broadcast. I'm gonna have you lead us here.
So Terry, do you have any other things you would like to share to the audience? Or are you good?
To be honest, I'm good, but don't ever be afraid to ask people. I think would be my only advice to say to anybody. If you see somebody that needs help or whatever, don't be afraid to ask. Do it in a way that is humbling, not belittling, or any way like that. Just treat everybody how you would like to be treated.
Sounds good. Kevin says, "I'll try and get to the broadcast earlier next time." You know what, Kevin? I'm going to hold you up to that.
Well, there's always a replay. There's always a replay. So Joy, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the audience?
And it's like just kind of like piggybacking off of what Terry just said. I'm open to questions, and a lot of blind people are. So don't be afraid of asking the person, not the person that the blind person is standing next to. Talk to us, instead of talking to the next person about us, because, we can talk. It's okay. We're not going to bite. And, so just please, it's like for me, I'm, I'll answer, pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just have a tip for everybody that doesn't know for this. Usually, okay, let's just say Joy and I and Terry are talking. Okay, we're in one room, we're talking, and Yuke comes up and doesn't say anything to us. We don't know she's there until she mentions her name. Hey, I'm here. This is Yuke. Whatever, something like that. So we know that somebody else came, so that we can include them in the conversation. Because a lot of sighted people will walk up and not say a word, and they feel like they're left out because we don't know that they're there. And for me, I can kind of see people, but if they walk up behind me and they're standing there, I don't know that they're there until they actually mention their name. So that's one tip for people that see see a visually impaired blind person
Mhm.
out at a store or something, if they're walking up to, if a sighted person is walking up to them, the they they might not be able to see you, so just say hi. My name is whatever. Or introduce yourself or say something to them so that they know somebody's there.
Right. And so Kevin says, great point. Michael says, thanks, guys. And Christy says, this was awesome and such a learning experience. You guys are awesome.
Oh, Troy and Terry, I've got to tell you something. When I was living in East Tennessee, I was vice president and then president of the Northeast Tennessee chapter of National Federation of the Blind. And my treasurer was actually on a beat baseball team, and their team, I think a couple of years actually went to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Very
wow.
cool.
Yeah, any of the teams can go to the World Series. It's just it's costing the team
It's a cost factor.
the
Mhm.
money.
It is.
Yeah, and for us, for our team to go over to the World Series, which is usually back east,
Yeah.
would cost us about $20,000 to $25,000.
Oh, jeez.
Because you have to think, at least 6 players, the pitcher, the catcher, a spotter. So you got at least 9 people there
Couple
Yeah.
volunteers.
for airplane tickets. Then you got hotel rooms.
Hmm.
You're there from Sunday until Sunday, so you're there 8 days. Of a hotel room plus all your food. So
It's a,
that's a lot of money.
It adds
Oh,
up.
yeah.
It adds
Yeah.
up.
And Yankee Woman Kim says, praying all in Texas. And Kevin says, thank you for everything tonight, everyone.
Yeah. So next week, just so everybody knows, next week we're going to have Chris Fertinsky. He's one of our team members as well. It's going to be the same time, 7:00 on Saturday, and I'm not sure if you're going to be there or not.
Pacific time, Pacific East Coast, West Coast time.
West Coast time, so 10:00 Eastern. But we're going to have Chris. He's a member of our of Sports for the Blind as well, and we'll have
Is
him
that
next
Tank?
week. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
We
Tank.
have nicknames.
Yeah.
We don't know anybody's real names. I had to confirm who you're talking about.
Yeah.
You say Chris, and Terry's like, who?
Who?
Yeah. Yeah. So and Tank, he was actually I'm just gonna give you a little tip or a little information on him. He was a truck driver for years, and he was going down the road going down the highway one time, and his eyes just went completely black. He could not see. He was going down the freeway at 55, 60 miles an hour, and he did get the truck pulled over to the side without any sight. So, if you guys want to come back for that story, he will tell you more. He has. I'm just throwing a little thing in
Troy,
there to
you
get
kind
people
of
interested.
Troy, you kind of gave away the whole story, the plot.
No,
You kind of
it's
just
not the whole story.
Troy, you're
I-
supposed to just be like, yes, he lost his sight in the middle of his driving, and then dun dun dun, come back next week.
Yeah, well,
Terry!
Hey,
I don't know
no.
the whole story.
I plead the fifth.
So anyway,
And Kevin, in regards to you saying all these nicknames, Kevin says my real name is really Kevin.
Good, I'm glad. My name is really Terry.
Joy, did you
Okay.
want to say something?
Yeah,
I'm
let me ask you a
Taylor.
question because you'll probably know this. The Hats Challenge, does that end? Is that one tonight, or is it still for tomorrow as well?
tomorrow.
It ends Sunday midnight Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
Nice meeting you,
So I still
Joy.
got. Oh, Terry,
Okay.
it's so nice to meet you too.
Nice meeting you guys.
Okay.
And Brenda said to Troy's the story, oh my God, that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys, everybody, for being
Thank
here.
you.
And thank you for coming in and helping Troy meet his HAPS challenge as well. And Terry, it is so nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank
And
you.
Joy, you're incredible. Thank you for being here as well.
Thanks, sweetie.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Okay,
inviting
thank
me.
you. Thank
Everybody
you
have a good
for
night.
all your
Thank
help.
you.
Thanks, Troy.
Mhm.